People just get so drowned out by noise. Don't tell them when we have a job. That's noise. I don't care about when you have a job. I care about when can you come and clean my house. That's all you need to say. Everything else is noise. That's mental load. You want to take that off of somebody. How are you solving the problem or getting the customer to where they want to be as fast and as easy as possible? Speed and ease is what people are buying. The least amount of resistance, the least amount of friction. And this is from the moment somebody comes into interaction with your brand. Embodied CEOs don't chase trends. They pave the way. They lead from within, moved by purpose, unshaken by noise. When you are the source, you do not need permission. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you guys are having a great week. Oh my gosh, it is so hot here. We had an incredible week in Austin last week where we actually got rain and like a day that was 80 degrees in July, which is unheard of. And now it's really hot and I have to go for a run. And I am not built for the heat. And I have not figured out a way. This is my problem. This is very much not a problem, but what I'm dealing with. I'm running more because I'm injured and I'm going to do a high rocks race, which you can look that up, because I want to compete and I can't compete in CrossFit right now. And so I'm running more, but it's hot. And I like to run on this trail downtown because it's flat. Where I live has a bunch of hills and I don't like running hills. And so I can't get downtown in the early morning. And so then I end up running in the heat. And I just looked at my temperature on my phone and it says feels like 102 degrees with a UV of 10. And I have to go run in that in about an hour. I will legit overheat. Like I get so hot and my skin starts tingling. It's really fun. So, and then my pace is all slow. It's so annoying. I think I got a few more months of that and I got to figure something out because I'm running like 3 days a week right now. So anyways, that's where I'm at. I am coming off of an incredible week. I feel like I am in so many ways in so much momentum. But you know, I will say there's duality, you guys. Like, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but I can feel like one area of my life one day feels like it's falling apart or I'm failing. And then another area is like I'm a superstar at the same exact time. I feel that all the time right now. That is the season I'm in. On the business side, though, I am feeling like we're crushing it, and I'm so excited. We are coming off of our most successful launch we've ever done, I think, when the numbers finish. And also an execution in the experience that we put on and the content and the way that we structured it. It just gets better every time I improve. I repeat launches and I repeat topics and experiences, but I always improve them. I always find little areas that it was like, ooh, that could be more clear or that could be, improved upon. And so we just did our challenge and it was very successful. It was fun to watch so many people launch visibility ads. And now I'm pivoting to like my focus into two things. One, if you are on my email list, keep your eyes open because we're actually dropping something new later this week that I created for the person who is not quite ready for our bigger offers. And it's a very specific experience that the visionary in me came up with one day, and here we are launching it, and I'm going to do it live the first time. So keep an eye on our communication. You'll see that. And then Embodied Marketing Live is next week. And so I am going into deep work preparation. I really connect with the people coming to the event, and every event is different. The way that I structure the workshops and the flow of the event, there's some similarities, but every single event has different workshops than the last, because I cater it also to the group, and there tends to be themes based on the groups that come and the biggest problems and things people need. So that is next week on Thursday. I'm very excited. That is one of my favorite things that I do is the in-person experiences. So there's some updates, and I'm excited to see those of you who are going to be at Embodied Marketing Live. Then we've got the cleaning business this week, if you've heard that on the podcast in a series, and we have a job booked every single day, and I think one day twice. So that's exciting, and I'm going to put this in a series on social, but I think this is funny. Like, I have Embodied Marketing, of course, and it's a multimillion-dollar company, and I've got systems and team, and to get a strategy call with me or a call with me, it's either like a bonus or you're paying a lot of money. And then we've got the cleaning business. And I was telling my friend, like, I am texting, I'm selling people, like I'm helping out with the sales. So I'm like, how big's your house? And like booking them as we build out the system. So I just think it's funny, the different stages and then where I am. It's just a cool experience to be back in like bootstrapping, but this time knowing like, oh, this is temporary. We're going to build the systems. We're going to automate this. We're going to hire this person. Like I just know what to do. Whereas my first business, I had no idea what to do. Like no idea, no systems, hadn't built that before. So it's a fun experience. So in today's podcast, I want to talk about something that just kept coming up in my mind as I was hosting the challenge and feels like a relevant point to make for you guys, because I see this a lot and I really have been thinking about how to articulate this to help you guys. And that is, I think in business growth and in marketing, more often than not, people lose track of the point, lose track of what it is they're actually trying to do and why they're trying to do it. So let me explain. I think in marketing, in business growth, because there are so many options. You can do this funnel and this platform and this strategy and this many emails, and like there's so much technical, tactical components to it that people lose sight of the main point and the main focus. So what is the main point and the main focus? The main point of a business, if we boil it down to like the one line, is to serve other people, to solve a problem or create a result for other people. And within that, you're creating an experience which varies. If you have a service or a digital product or a physical product, it doesn't matter. There's an experience in that. And everybody's offer, everybody's product, at the end of the day, every business, it exists to solve a problem and or create a result. And I think we need to go back sometimes to the basics of what exactly is my business here for? And then simplify everything and go, is everything we're doing, both in our delivery and our marketing and how we speak about what we're doing, connected to that? And it sounds so basic, but I'm telling you, people just get so drowned out by noise. And I was thinking about how if you boil business down to that one main thing, and that's the core goal, right? Solve a problem, get a result, serve somebody. We are here for service. Business owners, like visionaries, entrepreneurs who invent things, come up with solutions. We are coming up with ideas and solutions and ways of doing things and experiences that somebody else hasn't come up with before, or we feel we can do it better. That's why our business exists. And then when you think about marketing, okay, marketing's job is to make a connection. Marketing is like a bridge. Marketing and sales is to go, here's where somebody is. Here's a problem that they have. Here is something that they want. They are here. They want to be here. And over here, the problem's either solved or the result or the outcome is achieved. Their life is easier. Their life is better on the other side. That's the transformation. Marketing and sales' job is to make that connection, to deeply connect with where somebody is right now, and then make the connection that your offer, your service, your product is the answer to that. And I think what I recognize is that people get so lost in like, I need to convince somebody, or I need to, bad marketing and sales is like, I'm tricking somebody. I'm manipulating what they think and I'm convincing them to buy my thing. What if we just use the word connection? The bottom line job of good marketing and good sales is connection. You are trying to connect with where somebody is and then make the connection for them about what they need to do, what they need to implement, what they need to change to be where they want to be. Period. I know there's obviously nuances, in some industries and offers, people will say, well, I don't really provide a transformation. And I know that there is depth to that, right? But I think you could always argue you're providing some sort of transformation, some sort of result. So if we look at marketing as the main job of connection, and we ask ourselves, how could we create the deepest and the best and the most clear connection with our ideal customer? If that was your number one focus. If that was your number one focus, then number one, you would have to deeply understand them. You would have to deeply understand where your ideal customer is right now, what they're frustrated about, what they wish was different, what they want, what they would never post publicly but they are actually scared of, and what they're telling their friends, what keeps them up at night, what they're writing in their journal about whatever it is that you solve, the problem, those deeper emotions. And a trick that I have in getting there is I ask the question, why? So if somebody says to me, I want to lose weight, I say, why? Oh, because I want to be able to play with my kids. I want to look better. Okay, why? Right? And you keep asking why until you can get to the most foundational answer. And that's how you get depth. And you do that in many different ways. Like, I want this, or this is a problem. Why is it a problem? What does that cause for you? And you keep asking why. And you first have to have that deep understanding. And then when you have that deep understanding, the job of a business is to have that deep understanding and then go, okay, now how do I help that? How do I serve that? Some businesses are going to lean more on problem and frustration, and some desire. But usually there's both in there, usually in most businesses. And you go, okay, if I deeply understand this person's problem, frustrations, desires, how do I become the solution? And I also think this is where people don't understand that the offer you sell, the service, the product, the offer, is very important in the success of marketing. And when I look at the formula of my most successful clients, every single one of them, a really good irresistible offer is part of that formula. Because again, good marketing is not about persuading and tricking somebody into buying something. It is about making the connection of, here's where you are, and here's what's going to get you to where you want to be, which is your offer, which means the offer has to actually do that job. So the second piece to it is first the understanding of your ideal customer, that deep connection, and then are you solving that problem, frustration, desire in the fastest and easiest way possible for the customer? And I really want to emphasize this because I'm noticing that this is something that those things you naturally do that you realize not everybody's doing. So in my new company that I'm building, I'm noticing the little things that I do different than, let's say, my partner or somebody we're training, that are subtle. And I do this in Embodied Marketing too, and I train my team on this. But the little tiny things that I do that make the interactions with our company easier and faster to get a result. So I'll give you an example. Right now, this just happened in the last hour. We were talking to, my partner was talking to a client who was going to book a clean. And he told them, they wanted it Thursday, Friday. And he said, we have a job at this time and this time on Thursday and Friday. I'll get back to you on the time that we can do. And I said, don't tell them when we have a job. That's noise. Like, you didn't do anything wrong, but that's noise. Somebody doesn't care. I don't care about when you have a job. I care about when can you come and clean my house. That's all you need to say. Everything else is noise. And so I do this all the time in our customer journey when we service clients, is I look at, how do I give you the most laser focused and dialed in, streamlined and clear path to getting a result? And those little things add up, right? Like, that thing on its own, one time, not a big deal. You do a bunch of those little things, you do 5 of those little things in an interaction, and now the client may not ever even say anything or ever even realize it, but there is friction within that interaction. Because now I had to think about and go, okay, you have a job at this time, so maybe you'd be able to do this time. That's mental load. You want to take that off of somebody. So when you look at a good offer and a good positioning of your offer, it is, how are you solving the problem or getting the customer to where they want to be as fast and as easy as possible? Speed and ease is what people are buying. The least amount of resistance, the least amount of friction. And this is from the moment somebody comes into interaction with your brand. I was doing one of my webinars and I was saying this was a point that I make in my webinar, speed being really important. And someone was like, well, I'm a photographer, right? Like I have a service that I don't go fast in my shoot. They're an hour-long shoot. And I said, yes, you probably won't change that, but do you communicate how fast someone gets their photos? Are you just doing, like if I was a photographer, I would look at, okay, the standard to get back a photo is 2 weeks. To me as a customer, that feels like a long time because I just did a photo shoot. I'm all excited about it. I can't wait to see the photos. I don't want to wait 2 weeks. If you told me I'll get them back in a week and I compare you to 2 photographers, guess who I'm choosing? And I know, don't come at me and be like, well, you can't turn around photos that fast. I get it. But what could you figure out within your customer journey? Like, if you're a wedding photographer, what about within 24 hours you have 5 images you could put on social media? Then I can post about my wedding. Those little things that are going to set you apart. What about how easy it is to book with you? Is there resistance? Do I have to call you and do an annoying phone call that I don't want to do? I'm not just saying for photographers. I get like if someone's considering a wedding photographer, they probably want to do a phone call in every interaction. So when I look at my new company, every interaction on that website, I have made it as easy as possible. So looking at your customer journey, especially when it starts to go from lead to sale, have you removed every possible piece of friction and resistance? Is all of the communication so clear about what's going to happen? Are the steps, there's no friction? Because think about it, when you go and interact with another brand, you've probably done this many times, like you go start to do something or you go down a path, and the moment there is something that causes that friction, you might be gone. Unless you really want it. Maybe if you really want it, you'll put in some extra energy and effort. But if you're kind of like, yeah, I want it, but I'm not like dying, then I'll just deal with it later because I am an overwhelmed at max capacity human like most people are right now. So going back to my original point, my encouragement would be to spend a moment and reflect on these basic parts of your business, and have you at all veered away from them and allowed the noise of the tactics, and I have to have good marketing and sales language. And I think people think like sales calls and sales is like this, you have to like convince somebody and persuade them. How I persuade somebody to take action is I get them to see that action is going to solve their problem and get them what they want, period. That's how you get someone to take action. So sales are actually so easy when you do that well, because then it becomes a no-brainer. Like if you've ever done a call with our team, we're not like convincing you like you got to buy our offer, We're making it a no-brainer. We're also making that connection. Everything I do, my webinars, is to make that connection. And you know what? There is value within making that connection, because think about when you have a problem or you want to be somewhere, but you don't really know how to get there. You don't know the steps. Think about when someone lays that out for you and is like, hey, you want to do this? Okay, here's the steps that you need to take. Do this, do this, do this. You need these 3 things. Do it in this order. Do it like this. That's extremely valuable. That is what marketing does. That's what your lead gen should do. That's what your webinar should do. That's what you should do if you have a challenge. It is making that connection. So my invitation in this episode is to sit with, number 1, if the main point of a business is to serve somebody, is to solve a problem or create an outcome, what is that 1 sentence thing that I do? Are you clear on that? Have we steered away from that at all? Have we lost any sight of that? Has that gotten cloudy? Okay. Now, how do we do that? What is the best, fastest, easiest way that we do that we solve the problem, that we get that outcome? And can you explain that? For me, I'd say the main outcome that we get people is consistent leads and sales so that they can grow their business, so that they can have the life they want. That's how I boil it down on the spot. And how we do that is we have 3 different tiers that we put someone in depending on where they are in their business that does exactly that, gets them sales. And we've made it as easy and fast as possible to do that because we do most of the work for people. It's done for them, custom done for you work. And then look at your marketing and your messaging, and are you prioritizing connection as the number one goal? If you made connection the number one goal of your marketing, what would you change? Because think about, if you're trying to connect with someone, if you're trying to connect with a human being, one-on-one, friendship, relationship, how you connect with someone is you first have to understand them. You have to listen to them. You have to understand them, and then you have to listen to them, and then you can give advice or support or whatever it is. And so before you can make a connection in marketing, you have to have that deep understanding. You have to listen to them. You have to understand where they're at, and then you make the connection of how to solve that for them. And if marketing's main goal is connection, now we're not trying to convince or persuade or trick. We're not, people get scared to sell because they're like, I don't want to come across as salesy or spammy. You never should. You might think that because you might have some shame or some fear or guilt around speaking about your offer. But for me, and someone who is connected to their purpose, is connected to knowing, I know with everything in me, and this is how I feel about my offers, I know with everything in me that my offers are the best option out there because I will make them the best option out there to get the result that we get people. And I am proud of that. I'm not embarrassed or feeling like I'm too much or it's salesy to talk about that because I know that people have these problems and I know I can solve it. And if I solve it, their life gets better. So it's not about, I said this to somebody on a call recently of, you need to be proud of the results that you're able to get and the problems you're able to solve and the experience that has gone in that, and not feel bad for talking about it. Because here's the thing, everybody has these problems. Not everybody, but all your ideal customers have the problems that they have, and they want the transformation that they want, right? If you don't go solve it, somebody else is going to. And I tell my team that all the time, what do we need to do in a situation with a client where we make a specific recommendation, where we solve the problem, where we make the marketing work? Because if we don't do it, they're going to go to somebody else who's going to do a worse job than us. And so I don't feel bad for selling because I know that I'm improving somebody's life, because I know I've poured into my offers to make them the best they can possibly be. And I continue to do that. And I continue to make them better. And I continue to ask myself the question of, today, right now, in this current state, how do I get somebody a result as fast and easy as possible? So sit with the number one goal of your business, to serve somebody. Have you lost sight of that? Have you made money and leads and all of those things more important than that service? And that doesn't mean you do stuff for free. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, are you focused on the reason why your business exists? Because then money, if you do that right, money becomes a byproduct. And then are you making the connection from where somebody is and where they want to be to your offer being the answer? Because that bridge is literally the point of marketing. It's consistently connecting to where they're at, showing them where to go over and over again until they decide to go with your offer. And then it's making sure that your offer really is the best. I think that people don't realize the actual offer being irresistible and good matters a lot to the success of the marketing. And I've seen that in my own company this year of changing our offers, just exploded our sales. Not that we had bad offers before, but I made them easier and faster to get the result by making them done for you, because that's what I felt like was the right thing. So hopefully that gives you some things to think about. Like I said, definitely keep an eye on your email. I think Thursday this week, so we're dropping this Wednesday, Thursday this week, soon, we're putting something really fun and new out there meant for those of you who haven't been able to jump into one of our programs. And I haven't had an option for that in a while. So I am excited. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys next time.